Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is someone that has watched a lot of horror movies with me since 2009. It's Megan Hoffmeyer.
Hello.
What was the first movie we ever watched together, Megan?
Robin Hood Men in Tights?
What?
Oh, no, Drag Me to Hell. But we also watched Robin Hood Men in Tights that day.
Did we?
Yeah, we watched two movies.
We did a doubleheader of Robin Hood Men in Tights and Drag Me to Hell?
Yeah, we did.
It's a good first date.
It's awesome.
Movie date. And then I made you watch Thirst.
Yeah.
Well, you were writing a paper, and then I was watching it. You just background watched it, didn't you? And it still crushed your soul.
I'm not sure. I think I watched that one. You were watching Serendipity one time while I was writing a paper.
That's a movie right there. Not a horror movie, but still good nonetheless. I love Serendipity. The Cusack, the Becks,
Yeah.
the Pivs,
Ice skating, Lost Gloves,
Corbett.
Frozen hot chocolate.
Just frozen hot chocolate?
Yeah, because they go to Serendipity, the place in New York with the frozen hot chocolate.
Wow, I forgot about that. That movie makes me emotional. Maybe I just block out all the other non-emotional parts.
Can't think about it.
So I know it's not a horror movie, but I brought you in, Megan, because all this month on Movies, Films, and Flicks Facebook, I've been doing the daily horror movie recommendation, and I reached out to MFF, followers, fans, and they gave me a recommendation. So every day I've been putting out different recommendations, trying to get people to watch different horror films because, Movies, Films, and Flicks, we have John's Horror Corner. In 2015, that's when we first got pretty big press because of the horror posts I made. And it also got me jobs.
Your horror calendar.
Yeah, gosh. Now I see all those horror calendars now. I don't want to sound like a tinfoil hat person, but there's so many things that look exactly like it now.
Well, that's how content works, right? A good idea, and then everyone wants to do it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of horror calendars out.
I can't put them out now, though, because I'll just be another voice putting out a horror calendar.
Just, you've got it in you. You were the first.
But it was the Deep Blue Sea stuff that got noticed from Wired. It was the Halloween H2O thing that got me noticed from Rotten Tomatoes. The Cracked was It Follows. So I feel like horror has been really good to Movies, Films, and Flicks, even with the film theorist stuff I've been writing. So it's horror and the success of Movies, Films, and Flicks are kind of tied together.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on this too, because, I didn't ever used to like horror, and I've watched so much with you that now I definitely have my favorites.
I was having a conversation with my students the other day, and I want to see what you think about this, but horror movies just are not nominated for Academy Awards. And also I was talking to Zanandi about this, one of the co-hosts of Movies, Films, and Flicks, one of the guests, and I feel like Hollywood and worldwide cinema sort of rides horror for cheap, successful, money-making films. So it's like horror has always been entangled with cinema. I mean, since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the 20s, you have the German Expressionism, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Nosferatu. Then the 30s, Frankenstein, all that. The 40s, the 50s, all the monsters. And so you just, horror has always been a staple of cinema, but for some reason it's never nominated for any awards. But it's kind of the workhorse of cinema that just does not get any, nominations. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it doesn't get award love. I think that there, like most genres, there's just a wide range in different types of horror. And most people, I think the general sort of population, not horror fans, but the general population thinks of horror as teenage slasher movies with, final girls and boobs and tank tops and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's sort of, unfortunately, what it's been pigeonholed as. But, we've watched all kinds of stuff, from the very artsy to the fantastical and funny.
I think we're in a time right now that's sort of similar to the 20s and sort of similar to the late 60s and 70s, where horror films were actual pieces of art, like a Nosferatu, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, many more. And then you have in the 70s, late 60s, 70s, Rosemary's Baby, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Jaws, The Exorcist. And nowadays, I think we're in a time where Robert Eggers, Ari Aster, Jordan Peele, Julia Ducournau, they want to make these really, Nia DaCosta, they want to make these really artistic art films that are horror films. So I think we're kind of, horror always moves in cycles. It's just depending on what's hot. But I do think we're in a really good time for it. And I figured since it's October, since there's so many horror films out there, you and I would each recommend 3 horror films real quickly. to the listeners. And, you don't have to watch any of them. If you want to watch one of them, that's fine. But there's just some fun movies out there right now that we want to talk about. So I'm going to open it up, Megan, because I'm not going to say much about this movie.
Okay.
My favorite movies of the year so far are RRR.
Oh, yes.
Barbarian, Kimmy, Moonfall, and Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Such good movies.
Barbarian is one of my favorites because I hadn't seen a trailer. I hadn't read a synopsis. I saw the poster, and I didn't even know if I wanted to go to the press screening, but I talked to Aaron Newworth. He's like, go right now, run. Just don't even drive. I'm like, well, that's like 30 miles away. He's like, okay, yeah, get in your car. But yeah, so I went and watched it, and I haven't been more thrilled by a horror movie since Malignant, but before that years. and I remember messaging Aaron, and it was just I wrote holy, we're PG-13. I was like, holy shit.
Well, you seemed very surprised by this movie, whereas Malignant, you could you have expectations based on the director.
I guess we knew it would be bonkers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
And I had no idea what this was, no idea. And then David Cross, a frequent guest of Movie Stones and Flicks, watch it, and he sent me the same thing that I sent Aaron. He wrote holy shit. Like, it's a movie that I don't want to say anything about it. I think saying things about it wreck it, and you just need to go watch it.
Just watch it.
And I know that's not a good review. I wrote a review for it. It was one of the hardest reviews I've ever watched because I just wanted to write, watch it. But then I had to write a little bit about the movie. But I don't want to write anything about the movie because, like, let's say you're about to go watch Sixth Sense. I'm like, oh, get ready for that twist. Like, what twist? And then you're getting ready for the twist. So I don't want to say anything about Barbarian.
Don't watch a trailer.
Don't do it. Just go watch it. Just go now. Do it. It's beautiful.
Pause. We'll be back.
I'm serious. I haven't been that thrilled about a film in a long time. So Barbarian is my first recommendation. What are you going to recommend? Oh,
goodness. This is tough. 3 movies. And now I'm sitting here thinking of all these movies that I really love that are just... And then there's all these horror adjacent movies, you know?
The Dead Don't Die.
Oh, The Dead Don't Die. I love that movie.
It's so good. Yes.
Yeah, that one. And I know that The Lighthouse is categorized as horror, but to me it's really not, but I still love it.
It's like a psychological thriller comedy. With farts.
Only Lovers Left Alive.
Oh, yeah.
Not horror, but horror's adjacent.
Jarmusch. It's very Jarmuschian.
Yeah. I did name 2 Jarmusch. Okay. So my first movie is As Above, So Below.
Oh.
I love this movie.
It's so good.
It came out in 2014, directed by John Eric Dowdle, who also wrote the screenplay.
And directed Devil.
Oh, well, there you go.
Which I love.
And it's a great adventure. It's set in the Paris catacombs. They're looking for something. I don't want to reveal everything. But the main character is dealing with, wrestling with her dead father and just all of...
his legacy.
Mm-hmm. And...
she's not literally wrestling with her dead
Well, maybe
father.
she is. Let the people find out. That's Perdita Weeks, who plays Scarlett, and she goes with a crew of people to help her. It's in documentary style, so you got a little bit of the shaky cam and following people down through literally levels of hell and back, maybe.
She facepalms a demon.
It is so excellent. It's very creepy. There's just some weird stuff. How do all those things get down there into those catacombs? And
they actually let them film down there, which is crazy. This isn't a set. They filmed in the catacombs.
Yeah, it looks authentic for sure.
It's like Indiana Jones. It's like Indiana Jones meets
that's a good one.
Found footage horror film.
Mm-hmm.
It's an adventure romp with treasure and demons getting face palmed. And Scarlett's cool.
Yeah, you're never annoyed or disconnected from the characters. You're believing in this the whole time.
What I like, I don't want to give away the ending, but there's a scene at the end where she just goes beast mode. And I think in 99% of other horror movies, she would perish horribly. But something happens at the end that just makes you happy. She facepalms a demon. Could you imagine telling someone that in a bar?
I believe that she would.
Yeah, I facepalm a demon.
Mm-hmm.
I would believe her.
Yeah, I would too.
Because you never hear that.
Well, she rallies all these people to go on this mission with her, so she could do it.
If someone's like, I could bench 400. I'm like, I know you can't. I've facepalmed a demon.
Maybe.
Well, I've never heard that before, so I guess. Can't doubt you. I don't know, but I love it. That's a great pick because I covered that on the pod with Clayton Thompson, but you and I have watched it a lot and we love it.
Oh yeah, many times.
Oh man, I gotta recommend.
It's very rewatchable. All
right, so this one just came out, and I just thought I would recommend it. You and I watched it together. It's Werewolf by Night, 2022. It's on Disney Plus. And I know there a lot of buzz out there is going, it's the gnarliest movie ever. It is so bloody, you will lose your mind. It's not. It's sort of gateway horror.
Yeah, I don't remember it being bloody.
The reason I'm recommending it is because of Gael Garcia Bernal's performance. It's just watching him, and Diego Luna's crushing it in Andor. So it's two Y Tu Mama Tambien actors, the lead actors, crushing it in 2022 on Disney+. But I think what Bernal does is he adds a lot of eccentricity to the performance. There's a scene where any other character would sit down, but he does a spin, another spin, and then he sits.
And he flips up his jacket, too.
It's like...
it's very earnest. He's not, he doesn't seem like he's playing a character or something.
No, it's probably one of... I know it's way too early, but I like funky MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. And just watching Bernal in a major property that's filmed in black and white, that has werewolves. I love werewolves. I did an entire werewolf series with David Cross on this. I've talked about Dog Soldiers. I've talked about Van Helsing. Lots of werewolves. Wolfman. I'm all about those werewolves. So it's just watching that, watching the different hunters go through. But the main thing is just watching how... The character's name is Jack Russell, by the way, which I love. But Bernal, he just adds such a funkiness to the performance. And not funkiness, but it's earnest, it's different, and that spin move is great. And that's what I want for my MCU. I don't think it's anything... nothing the MCU releases is going to be groundbreaking, I think, like Barbarian or Blair Witch or Texas Chainsaw or Get Out. But it's fun to see them put something like this out that is quite violent, that is quite funky, that is atmospheric, that is old school. It feels like the beginning of Van Helsing with the black and white. So it's just a quick in and out story. You get Man-Thing, but the main reason to watch this is because of the sitting down scene of Bernal.
And the coffee drinking.
Oh yeah, good coffee drinking.
Mm-hmm. At the end. Yeah, I know how you just said that the MCU doesn't do anything groundbreaking, but I like that we're in a place where the MCU has gotten so huge that there's room for funky stuff now. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have to lay all the groundwork down with Iron Man, Thor, or Captain America. They can build the world and have weird little things on the side like this. And it's by no means super weird at all. It's pretty mainstream for what it is, but it's still not just your superhero movies. I love that I feel like they let Bernal have 100% freedom to build his character.
I was just so happy after we watched it. It was very delightful.
And I liked Laura Donnelly, too, as Elsa Bloodstone. I thought she was cool as well. So, I don't know if we're going to see more of this world, but I do really like this film. The more I think about it, the more I like it. It's 52 minutes. And it features
love a short movie.
Yeah, it features a great sitting scene. So you can't get any better. What's your second rec?
So to keep on the theme of werewolves, I'm going to go with last year's 2021 Werewolves Within, directed by Josh Rubin and starring Sam Richardson, who is, I just always loved Sam Richardson. You can't go wrong with him.
His line delivery, what a nice movie.
Yes.
It's a bunch of weirdos.
It's so funny. It's so weird. Gosh, hard to talk about this one as well because you don't want to give away everything that's going on. But just know that there is a very informative tour of the town.
Yeah, that's great.
You should definitely pay attention to it. It's funny. And Sam and our other lead, Milana Vantrube, who plays Cecily, she's a postal carrier. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great tour of the town. Pay attention.
And I had a little bit of a complaint about the movie while watching, and then they answered it beautifully. It's a movie that's very smart. It features cool werewolves. It builds. There's a bunch of weirdo characters who are obviously having fun. There's some good violence in it. But it's just Richardson. And then I love that line, well, she'll make us a sandwich.
Yeah,
it's so stupid.
Some sexist guys who want ladies just to make them sandwiches.
It's just so random, and then they laugh. The guy laughs about it, but I don't know. I love a good horror comedy. And you and I, how did we even watch this? How did we find out about this? I got a screener.
Oh yeah.
And then we watched it, and it was just a blast.
And then we told everybody about it, and then we had to watch it again.
And then we bought it. So go watch it. Watch Werewolves Within. These are 4 good movies there. You're set. Your night is set. So I'm last. Oof. Okay, so Megan, you're probably not going to like this one.
Oh, no.
But I'm just
That's a broad category.
You and I watched this in college. It's one of my favorite horror films because it is so draining. It's like the vampire characters drinking blood in this movie.
It's literally draining you.
Park Chan-wook directed it, the director of Old Boy, one of my favorite directors, The Handmaiden. He is just an absolute beast. And watching the movie Thirst, which I'm talking about, that I absolutely love. It's just, starring Song Kang-ho and Kim Ok-bin. She's from The Villainess. Hey, I like that movie. But it takes you, like, as above, so below goes to hell. But Thirst takes you to a metaphorical hell. It just drags you
to hell?
Depravity. Yeah, exactly. The absolute pit. There's like the pit of depravity.
I feel more like they're actually energy vampires sucking all the life out of you.
The viewers?
Yes.
But I think it's so successful. I think the performances are amazing. And it's just, it's a movie that opens really expansive. And then it gets into this confines of this apartment. And you just feel claustrophobic. You almost feel like you have a straitjacket on. And I can't think of the last time a movie has ever made me feel so exhausted and drained and depraved. And I credit Park Chan-wook for that, because I love it when a movie can wipe me out. You know, you watch stuff like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that put me in a headlock for days. I Saw the Devil, I was left on the floor. So I just love movies that wipe me out. And so Thirst is a wonderful vampire film that just it's beautiful though. It's beautifully filmed. And what I love about the Koreans is, I think when they make The Host, Train to Busan, they add, like, they don't treat horror as some little crappy side genre. These movies don't. They treat them like epic films that are actually good. These people are making good films. And so just watching it makes me so happy. And you gotta watch Thirst. That's my third recommendation. So what's yours?
Yeah, I just remember being very unhappy in general after watching that movie. I took out all of my annoyance on the movie.
But that's effective, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I was just not happy. I was in a bad place. I was like, I don't like this movie. I don't like my mood right now. I just need to go do something else.
But do you think that's good when art can affect you like that?
I don't know, because I've never rewatched it. Never gone back.
Johnny and Elma and I are going to be talking about it, so maybe I can make you watch it again.
Maybe, now that I've watched far more horror in the past 13 years.
Yeah. All right, so what's your next pick?
Okay.
What's your final pick?
This is tough. Having to pick the first two are easy because, there's still all the choices ahead of you. But now on the last one, what am I supposed to do?
It's a lot of pressure on you.
Oh, it is. Gosh, I'm sweating. So I'm waffling between two right now. But
what's your heart do? Just go with your heart.
I don't know, because I just had another idea, but
go for that then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen to your heart.
Listen to my heart.
When it's calling for you.
Okay, so if I listen to my heart, because this one just popped up for me in my head, Happy Death Day.
Yo, David Cross right now is jumping up and down.
From 2018. Where did we see this movie? In the theater?
Yeah, we went and saw it in the theater. It's such a pleasant surprise.
It's so, I mean, would you call it horror comedy?
Yeah, definitely a horror comedy.
It's fun. I don't know. It's, it's one of these sort of Groundhog Day films that repeats itself over and over. But it's a murder mystery?
Yeah.
That the main character is trying to prevent their own death.
Tree.
Jessica Roth.
She's so good.
Tree.
When was the last time a character appeared so fully fleshed on screen in the first 14 seconds of their role? I feel like Tree, she just immediately, it's one of those horror roles where I think the actress is just on fire, right?
Mm-hmm. She's very likable. I don't know, she delivers the dialogue well. All of her reactions are on point. It never feels like she's trying too hard to deliver a punchline, but also be in a horror movie.
So good. And I think it's a really good example of low-budget filmmaking because they reuse a lot of the sets. By using the Groundhog Day, they were able to keep the budget to, $3 million? So just walking through the same hallway 14 times, walking through the same hospital, same classrooms, same dorm room, or no,
the sorority house.
Sorority house.
Well, no, there is a dorm room.
Oh yeah, there is. Yeah, so same one. It's a good way to keep the budget down, but it's on her shoulders though. Like this movie, I think lives or dies on her shoulders, and I think Jessica Roth just crushes it. She's so good.
Yeah.
She's cool.
She's funny.
I hate calling.
She's sassy.
I don't want to be reductive, but it's a very pleasant film, and there's a good. She changes, her character changes.
It's extremely enjoyable. You know what's funny? I picked the first one's not a horror comedy, but the other two are, and I feel like I have this. I either like really depressing horror movies, or I like the horror comedies, and that's pretty much the range.
You almost picked The Dark and the Wicked earlier.
I almost picked The Dark and the Wicked, and I almost picked The Black Coat's Daughter.
The nice thing about...
Talk about feeling really depressed when a movie's over.
The nice thing about picking...
I'm telling it to come back, just like she's telling the demon. Don't go. Don't go.
It's my favorite horror moment of the 21st century. It's so sad.
That's me to the movie.
I love that movie. More people need to watch it. But the nice thing about picking 3 films is we're going to leave out a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm kind of fine. Just
and we're not saying that these are the best or our very favorite ever. We're just recommending some watches.
I got some more recommendations from MFF followers. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
So John Levingood of John's Horror Corner, he recently wrote reviews for Hatching, Glorious, The Passenger, and for fans of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 through 5, Prom Night 2, which he loves. So watch those.
Oh, I saw that picture of Hatching on his Instagram page.
Yeah, it's good. IFC.
Looks disturbing.
I can't wait. We have it. We just got to watch it. So let's see. David Cross. This Halloween, I plan on visiting some old favorites. Every year since its release, my partner and I have watched Happy Death Day. We can't get enough of it. It's a perfect mix of humor and horror. It's also PG-13, so you can watch it with the kiddos. David Cross. I'm also a huge fan of monsters, so I always watch a Universal monster movie at some point. All the classics are great, but I find myself watching The Wolfman the most. Lon Chaney Jr. is excellent in it. Then you put a lesser-known movie I think more people should watch is End of the Line, 2007. Follows a group of train passengers who are being hunted by cultists. It's not in streaming as far as I know, so you might have to resort to eBay. And then a movie that I love, he put a movie I've never seen but plan to fix this year is Session 9. It's a movie about asbestos cleaning, and he used to clean asbestos, so he wants to watch it.
Oh.
But that's one of my favorite movies. It is a Movie Stones and Flicks episode. And he also wants to watch Dark Knight of the Scarecrow again. Then we have Johnny Numb, his small but fierce trio. He has Like Me, a kaleidoscopically shot treatise on the wages of hollow internet celebrity, with the horror coming in the form of Addison Timlin's disaffected sociopath who goes on a road trip of criminal activity in the name of viral popularity for its own sake. Sounds like Spree, which you love.
Oh, yeah. Spree is a fun one. That was a random find on Hulu.
Sorry for the terrible read there. And then Darling, 2015, writer-director Mickey Keating is a Brian De Palma of modern horror. Here he uses inky black and white digital photography to create an anachronistic tale of a lonely girl, Lauren Ashley Carter, tasked with looking after a foreboding Manhattan townhouse. A moody, shocking, and at times maddeningly ambiguous blend of Carnival of Souls and repulsion. Then 2020, Becky. A trio of actors known for comedy, Kevin James, Joe McHale, and Amanda Brugel, are cast against type in this home invasion tale from the directors of Cooties and Bushwick. But the true star is Lulu Wilson, who proves that hell hath no fury like a grieving kid with an arsenal of sharp objects. Next, Joey Lewandowski. He recommends, so he has literal nightmare movie list. And so he sent me Possession 1981, Mother, which we have an upcoming episode for, Climax, which Zach Beckler and I said was the second best horror film of the 2010s, and then Burial Ground, 1981. And then I saved this for last. It's Zanandi. She said to do this all in one breath. So you ready for this?
All right.
Okay.
Ready. One more.
Zanandi Boetes. Okay. We Summon the Darkness, Trick or Treat, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 and 2, Hocus Pocus 1 and 2, You Won't Be Alone, Us, The Black Ghost Daughter, Dr. Sleep, Troll Hunter, Gretel and Hansel, The Strangers 1 and 2, The Rental, Diabolique, Young Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Carnival of Souls, Sleepaway Camp Marathon, Scream Marathon, Frankenweenie, Freaky, The Final Girls, The Pied Piper, Candyman, Back to Back, The Dark and the Wicked. I almost got there.
I only got about like 30% of that.
Did you get The Dark and the Wicked? That was the last one.
I got that one.
But I did it in one breath.
Mm-hmm.
But we covered We Summon the Darkness on the podcast. Very good episode. Was it Reckless Alexis in that? Johnny Knoxville calls
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. And Maddie Hassan's also in Malignant, which is fun.
Yeah, she is.
Also, Blackcoat's Daughter, she brought up. You Won't Be Alone as Gnarly. Troll Hunter, we talked about. There's some really excellent films on here. So I'll read the last 5. We also covered Freakies and Anya and I, but The Final Girls, The Pied Piper, Candyman Back to Back, The Dark and the Wicked. There we go. Or she said In One Breath. Or is that a horror movie? In One Breath.
I don't know.
No. But
is
Megan,
it? It sounds like it could be.
Hey, well, thank you so much for joining me, Megan. This was fun.
Yeah.
Horror recommendations.
Oof, that was tough.
Stressful?
It was very. I'm gonna need to go drink a cold fizzy bubbly now.
Like you're viewing a thirst?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are sweating right now.
I am. It's like the beads are rolling off my nose.
All right, this is great. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for Megan Hoffmeyer, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.